Good afternoon, YouTubers. Happy Sunday, everyone. I hope you have had a good weekend. So this is just a short video, short Sunday video, just to sort of maybe address some comments, take a look at some of the things that's been in the news over, well, mainly George Galloway, and there's an incident in Glasgow I'd like to sort of briefly touch on as well. So, first and foremost, I'd like to address some comments that I've had since I've done the Katie Hopkins video. Now, I've had a few that's been not concerning, but I've been kind of wondering why people are coming to that conclusion, that somehow that Katie Hopkins, because I've endorsed her in a video, somehow has my mind now. I should probably clear it up that I haven't really watched any Katie Hopkins videos, just the shorts and a few other things that like my mother and other people have showed me. So when people say that, well, she's got a different take on the Israel-Hamas conflict and that she endorses what Israel are doing or advocates what Israel are doing, and I wasn't aware of that, and if that is our view on that, then I would absolutely debate her fiercely on it, because that's not my beliefs. I'm going to do a video on it, and I'm going to come from a completely neutral point of view, and we'll go right back to the beginning to find out exactly what happened and how it transpired. And I am going to go into that. And if Katie Hopkins is advocating for Israel, then she's probably going to want to watch that video. And I don't know if she is or not, it's just what someone said in the comments. Again, it doesn't matter to me. See, we need to stop that, well, I don't agree with her on one thing, so that means that everything else she says, I have to put it in the bin. And I used to do things like that back at the start of this journey, and it's the worst thing you can do, because you're doing yourself out of information. Now, just because we're not all going to agree, it's just not going to happen. I don't think that'll ever happen. And good, we don't want it to happen, because this world it's the diversity of the world is what makes it magic. And if everyone was thinking the same, it'd be a pretty drab place to live in. But we do have to agree on one thing, that we all want unity, and put the unity back into community, and sort of be there and respect each other's rights, even though we might not agree, or respect their opinions as well. And just know that everyone wants the same thing. They just sort of want to take care of their family and have holidays and just enjoy life, not without its challenges, but you get what I'm saying. So I'm not just going to sort of throw somebody to the side just because she's got a different view to me on a particular subject. I've aligned with her on the subject that I'd mentioned in the video, and that's why I've done the video. And it's just, I mean, it's like, so she's got a different opinion to me, so that means I have to switch her video off. And it certainly doesn't mean she has my mind, because how could it possibly be? I didn't know that was her opinion on it. So. And we need to get out of this childish thinking. Oh, you said that about this. I don't believe that, so that means you are in the bin to me. It's ridiculous. And we're not going to get anywhere doing that. And that is the reason why we are in this bloody mess. Because of doing things like that. Because grown-ups don't do things like that. That's what children do. That's playground behaviour. And it's permitted in the playground, because that's where you're supposed to learn. Or after that you learn it's for the playground. But so many people continue into their adulthood. And 3-4 years ago was evidence of that. So I'm not going to sit and like I say, if I disagree with someone, I'll tell them I disagree with them, and I'll tell them why. Doesn't mean to say you need to start fighting with someone or shouting and screaming. It just means you disagree on that one subject, then you can move on. And this is what needs to happen. And I'm getting backlash from the Kate Galloway faithful, and I couldn't care less. Kate Galloway, right? Her book's not called Life After Death. It's called Derek. It's called The Power of Hope or something like that. But she still had to have been writing it when he was in a coma. Now, my mum pointed something out to me and she said, well, there's actually pictures of him in a coma with his specs on. Maybe there's a medical reason for that. I don't see why you would need specs in a coma, for starters. But that, maybe it does, I don't know. Maybe it's not even true, I don't know. But there's definitely more to know here, because Kate Galloway claims that she is in a very, very hard, difficult place. But you were obviously thinking about your finances for after your husband had passed, and I'm not saying you shouldn't have done that. But this is all very distasteful. And one commenter had said to me that, oh, she deserves a lot of credit for the courage she's showing because Derek had long COVID. Now, every single person who's ever used those words to me, long COVID, I have asked them, what is that? And not one time has anyone ever been able to give me an answer. And the reason they cannot give me an answer is because whatever mainstream television news network or online network they're using has not given them that information. And the reason they've not given them that information is for reasons I explained on the last videos. So they need to define exactly what that is before I'll buy it. And I know what it is. Everyone knows what it is. It's adverse reactions. And it is long. You better believe it's long. So if you're coming on this channel and saying to me that this is the type of person who deserves to be looked up to, then I think you're on the wrong channel. Now, the same Kate Galloway has said that she's embarrassed to be white. Well, that's a turn up, Kate, because the white race, we're embarrassed to have you. So that's, the feeling's mutual there. And she also pushed on propaganda for people to get the apparent cure. Which was her gift. She can do that if she wants. But she was ostracising people who had taken an alternative view. A view in which many people who did engage in the experiment wish they had taken themselves. And I do too. So, I don't really care what Kate Galloway's fans think of me. Because again, if you believe a person that comes out with such a statement and does such a thing on Good Morning Britain, ostracising a group of people for educating their minds, at the same time writing books for when her husband dies, if you believe that's the type of person that we should be looking up to in society, then I would say that that's a good marker as to why society's became as toxic as it has. That's just my opinion, which I'm entitled to. And it would appear there's a lot of people in the comments that have forgotten that. Now, if you're getting triggered by someone else's opinion, there's a reason why you're getting triggered for that. People get triggered because it's their subconscious reminding them of the subconscious mind is reminding the conscious mind of the social programming it's gone through. That's why they get angry. It's why they get into their R complex and start, because that's where the belief system's defended from the R complex. And the anger that comes out of some of them is unbelievable, and then they start saying, oh, I'm unsubscribing. It's like, but that's your right. And then they start saying, my opinion of you's changed. And again, it doesn't matter. What your opinion is of me doesn't matter to me, and it's none of my business. It's absolutely none of my business. So you can have whatever opinion you want, and then you get other people coming on a Sunday morning at 8:30 to tell you what a loser they think you are, and it's like, but you're coming on to my channel at 8:30 in the morning to sort of tell me what a loser I am, and I'm thinking, well, I'm not sure what that makes you, mate. Again, they're entitled to their opinions. It's none of my business. But we need to stop this, everyone. It needs to stop, right? People say opinions to me that I don't like. I don't start trying to shut them down or come, oh, look, miss, look, like a kid to the teacher. Oh, he just said that to me. We need to grow up. It's just an opinion. And everyone getting bloody offended by everything is the reason why free speech is being compromised. Because everybody's worried about offending someone. And that's why I said that people like Katie Hopkins are absolutely needed in this time, because she's not worried by that. regardless of what you think of the opinions. We need that. Which brings me to George Galloway. Now, as you're aware, he's just won the Rochdale by-election. I didn't really pay any attention to it until he'd actually won it, I'll be honest. I did, however, just catch his interview with Sky News after winning the mandate. And to say it was an embarrassment was an understatement. And I'll tell you something right now, if I was running a news outlet or a mainstream journalism organisation, whatever you want to call it, and one of my employees conducted an interview the way he did, his P45 would already have been in the post, regardless if it's Sunday or not. Because it was embarrassing. He kept asking the same question, trying to assassinate the guy's character. And George Galloway basically said, look mate, the fact of the matter is this. I won this mandate be getting voted by the people. And the two leaders of the two main parties were nowhere to be seen. Well, I mean, they finished second and third. I'm not even going to use respectively because they don't deserve that terminology. And according to George Galloway, Rishi Sunak was lucky to finish third. And then this journalist, well, he's under the delusion that he is a journalist, he's not, started to say, oh, people are worried. He tried to manipulate fear. Oh, it's very worrisome that you have won the mandate because you are, I mean, Talk TV were calling him a right-wing extremist, or words to that effect. And I loved what he said about what's going on in Israel and Palestine, or Palestine as we'll call it. And just while we're on that, actually, you should go, there's a guy that just set his cell on fire the other day there, an Air Force, he worked for the American Air Force, and he went to the Israeli embassy and doused his cell in fuel and set his cell alight. I've seen the video, mate. It's very, very distressing to watch. But it just, and the guy actually says in the video, like, he says, this might seem extreme, but it's nothing compared to what we're doing over there. And I mean, that'll have put them in a very, very sticky position with that, like, because that's an incident that speaks 1,000 words at least. And it just shows you that the measures that people are prepared to go now to sort of to get past this propaganda that we've had for so bloody long with this nonsense over here. And this is why I'm going to do a video, because it has to be done. Yeah, people need to know. And I've got most of my knowledge from it from people like David Icke and others like, but it doesn't make the story any less true. And I mean, if you wish to have the full rundown of the whole situation, then I would absolutely suggest you read his books, because that's where the information is. And he does a great job of it, he really does. And he makes it sound so simple and understandable, or simple to understand. But George Galloway, I mean, he's against that. Now, I wasn't that fond of George Galloway, but I disagreed with him and all that. And as I mentioned before, I used to bin people that said one thing against what I was looking into, and he was one of them. But I don't do that anymore, as I said, because there's no point, because you're doing yourself out of information. Just remember, you're not going to agree with everyone, but we need to learn to manage triggers. And I'm no different in that. I still get triggered, of course I do. We're human beings, we're very emotional. So you're going to get triggered, but it's just how you manage them and how you learn how to deal with them. Because it's paramount for your own mental health, as I've mentioned previously. I mean, anger and stress is just not good for the body's cells. It poisons them and increases your viral load, which gives you symptoms, and we don't want that. But that's what can start that off. And I mean, you could drive yourself crazy if you allowed yourself to be letting everyone's opinions affect you, and that's why you shouldn't do it. And I'm just glad that someone like George Galloway, and people are, I mean, just with the fact that he won that vote, or that by-election, shows that people are willing to go an alternative way. I mean, even Reform was nowhere near it. So it shows that it would appear that people aren't buying into Reform either. Now, I don't know anything about Reform. I'm not saying anything against them. They may well have good values, and the people there might want to do the right thing. I don't know. I've not looked into them, so I'm not going to comment. But what I do know is that George Galloway blew them out of the water. And I'm glad that he did, and I congratulate him. And I hope he sticks to his principles and does what's best for everyone and doesn't get compromised. I think we'd all be very grateful for that. And I'm sure that the people that this Sky News journalist were saying that were worried about his election, I'm sure if George does the right thing that their worries will be put to bed very soon if they see that he can start to make changes. Because the government we've got now, they're not. I mean, Rishi Sunak, I mean, he's an employee. He looks like what he is, an employee. He's got nothing about him, like. Neither Keir Starmer. They're just liars. They're paid professional liars, that's all they are. And it's been shown in that by-election that the country is now wise to that. But they're sowing destruction, there's no doubt about it. As I said, order comes from chaos, or it once did. I'm not sure it's going to pan out quite that way again, but it once did. Yeah, so I suppose it's a step in the right direction. I mean, there's a lot of work to do. It still doesn't matter who gets into Parliament. Obviously, we can get better people in, but we still need to take responsibility. Just because some politician that's going to do the right thing, or is going to perceive to do the right thing, it doesn't mean to say we don't need to take responsibility. And taking responsibility is managing your triggers and realising that you can't agree with everyone else, and realising that everyone's got a perspective. And I see these pictures all the time. It's like you'll have it'll be like shaped like a rectangle, and then at the other end it'll be like a triangle, and if one person's facing onto it, it'll be a triangle to them, and if one person's standing to the side, it's a rectangle. And they two could be arguing, saying, well, it's a triangle, no, it's a rectangle, but they're both right, and it depends what perspective you're standing from. It depends on the position you're standing from and what that perspective would be. So that's why everyone's opinion's valid, because you don't know where they've been standing. So hopefully George Galloway continues to stand on his own 2 feet, and I genuinely hope he does that, and I wish him well in it, I genuinely do. And I just want to talk briefly, just before I go, I noticed something this morning there. There was an event in Glasgow that's gone viral. I'm not sure, I don't know if you've maybe heard of it or not, but it was a Willy Wonka chocolate factory experience. And it was to bring, obviously, Willy Wonka to Glasgow, to give kids the experience. And first and foremost, the company that ran the event, and this, you can check this is true, they're called the House of Illuminati. Why anyone would want to call their bloody company that, I don't know. I can't fathom it, but they did. And that would have been fine if the event had been up to standard. But from what I could see, it definitely wasn't. Now, what they did was they basically just rented a warehouse space. And even the actor that played Willy Wonka had said, I was basically they just handed me a top hat from Amazon and a waistcoat. And he said he was embarrassed. They would go into a lemonade room and give them half a cup of lemonade, and then they would go into the jelly bean room and they'd get one jelly bean, and it was just a big rip-off. They were charged £35 a time. And in the article, the journalist in the article had said what they had seen, it was incredibly like dystopia. Now that's why it's relevant, because this is the substandard products that they're trying to put on us now, because that's what dystopia is, and you're seeing it everywhere now. I mentioned my nephew's mum with a car, just substandard products, and this is the same, because that's what dystopia is. And I mean, kudos to the guy, I really do, a lot of respect to the guy who did play Willy Wonka, because what he said, look, I'm probably not going to get paid for this, and apparently he'd done a few stand-up things as well, so he chose to use that experience to try and give the kids a better experience and make them laugh, so that it wasn't such a big waste of money and wasn't such a big disappointment, and that's what the rest of them done as well. So hats off to them for that, and that's the sign of a good person. So I don't care if I'm not getting paid, I'm embarrassed to be a part of this, and if he'd known it was going to be like that, he wouldn't have been there. That was clear in what he was saying, but he chose to do the right thing and be a good person and say, no, I'm going to help these kids and try and make this a better experience so they don't go home crying. And I just think that's amazing, and that's the type of people we need in this world. But to say it was incredibly like dystopia, it just kind of like, oh well, I need to bring that into a video, because that is exactly what they're bringing, as I've explained. And then, and as you can imagine, the police did get called to the event because there was a lot of unhappy parents. And I will say one thing: if there's one place that you don't do that in this country, it's definitely Glasgow, because you're going to expect, because there are good people in Glasgow. I'm from the outskirts of there myself, and it's about being real. And for the most part, we don't like to see people getting ripped off, or kids being made a laughing stock of, or going home not happy and not doing anything about that. So they were right to question it. I wouldn't advise to get violent about it. It helps nothing, but it is understandable why they done it, because I mean, go and check it. Just type in Willy Wonka Glasgow event and you'll see it, and it's pretty disgusting. It really is, and how anyone could think that was okay to do that to kids and parents in a time when there's a cost of living crisis is beyond my comprehension. And it's just another example of some of the terrible people we have in this world, and the name of their company. I think that gives us a little look into just the way they think. Not saying they're part of that organisation. I'm just wondering if they've thought that maybe we'll use this and we'll get bookings. Well, I don't think you'll get too many after this. So I suggest you get back to the drawing board and start with changing your name and putting out a better product. And that goes for every company in this country, because it would appear that the customer isn't valued as we once were, as I mentioned in a live stream. So, and that this can be avoided. It can be avoided because good people wouldn't do that. And like I said in my DWP videos, do the job the way you would want somebody to do it for you, and that's it, man. It gives off a chain reaction, which allows love to govern everything. So it's just about trying to understand other people's perspective, as I'd said in that analogy just a couple of minutes ago. So that's pretty much at the end of that. I just wanted to address a couple of things. I'm still working on my climate change video. I'm glad I didn't record it on Friday, actually, because there's a bit of information this morning that I come across that's really relevant to it, that I think you're going to find really interesting and quite crazy, if I'm being honest. So I'll be recording it tomorrow. And then we'll see obviously what comes after that. I don't like to think too far ahead, but I'll definitely keep you updated on what's going to be happening. I'll be making an appearance on a podcast on the 16th of January, 16th of March as well. I'll post links on that when I've done that as well. I'd like to thank everyone who's liked, shared, subscribed, commented, all that. The people that's been from the beginning, everyone, thanks for your continued support, and anyone new on board, I really appreciate you. And I'd like to thank you for your continued support, everyone, because I'll say it one more time, it's because of you I'm here, because he's given me the inspiration to keep on doing it. So I'd just like to thank you again for that. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I'll see you on the next one, okay? Alright, man, thank you.